everyone, and welcome to another Make It Monday. I'm Sarah with Beyond Fabric, and today we are adding to our panel series with this quick and easy pot holder featuring a panel block. If you're looking for a useful holiday gift, this is the project for you. Let's get started. For this project, you will need your focus fabric for the front. We are using the panel block here. This is Michael Miller Hot Apple Cider, but any fun fabric will do. You need a piece for the back of your pot holder. Both of these are going to be cut 8.5 by 8.5. You need a piece of Insulbrite and cotton batting, also cut 8.5 by 8.5. And then you'll need two pocket pieces for the back. Those are going to be cut 7.5 by 8.5. And your Insulbrite will be cut 6.5 by 8.5. So you need two pieces of Insulbrite, two pieces of fabric for the pocket, and then also you need to add a tab to hang it from. You can use ribbon or twill tape, 3/8 to 1/2 inch in size, and this is cut 5.5 inches in length. You will need binding material. This is cut 2.5 inches by width of fabric. Let's get this put together. We're going to begin by sandwiching our block. This is our main pot holder piece, so we're going to have our front piece. We're going to have our batting, our Insulbrite, and then the back of your pot holder. You can spray base these together, pin together, or clip around, whatever method or a combination of all. And then we are going to do a little bit of quilting. You could do a big X. You can go around with swirlies. You could do some diagonal lines. Whatever you choose, be creative. You just want to get all of these layers attached together. Get creative. We have our lines drawn on here that we are going to stitch on, quilting these layers together. We're going to alternate the direction of sewing so that we don't sew everything in one direction, skewing our block. Go ahead and sew. Now, because we used a friction pin, these marks will disappear with heat, so you can go ahead, clip all your threads, and press it so those marks disappear. Go ahead and grab your pocket pieces. Next, you need to take your pocket piece, lay it with the wrong side up. Your Insulbrite will be centered in the middle because you are going to fold over, connecting your pocket pieces, lining those up on top of each other. The Insulbrite will be shorter, and this is to remove some of the bulk where we're going to put the binding on. Go ahead and press this in half, again matching your edges of your pocket, and your Insulbrite will be matched inside and it will be shorter. Repeat this for both pocket pieces, get them pressed, and then we are going to stitch along the folded edge about 3/8 inch away from the edge. So we have our pocket piece folded in half. Our Insulbrite is also folded in half. Our edges are matched up over here, and we are going to stitch along that folded edge. Now we have our pocket pieces stitched along that edge. We're going to go ahead and sandwich all our layers together. We have our pot holder block all quilted together. We have our back piece and our front piece, and now we need to add our pocket pieces. So we're going to base these together before we add our binding. So go ahead and put the pocket piece on one side and the pocket piece on the other side. Do make sure that your panel block or your pattern is facing correctly. Clip around the edge, and then we're going to go to the machine and baste using 1/4 inch all the way around. We have our pot holder all sandwiched together. Now we're going to baste around the edge using 1/4 inch seam allowance. We now have it basted around the edge. Because of the thickness that we are sewing through, you definitely do need to change your needle. Use a 16 or an 18 needle for this project. Also, this handy dandy stiletto, which is made locally here in town and available on our website, is a great tool to help keep the fabric down and feeding through your machine. Now we also need to go ahead and add our tie for the top. So find the front and fold it in half. And we're going to baste our hanging tab in place. So go ahead, find your middle. Take your tab. If you're using ribbon, go ahead and burn the edge of the ribbon so it does not fray. We are using twill tape, so we will not burn it because it is cotton and will catch on fire. So go ahead and fold it in half, put it to the middle, and we are going to stitch over this several times. Now that we have our hanging tab put on, let's go ahead and get our binding ready. Now we have our tab attached, our pockets are attached, basted, everything is sandwiched together. We need to add our binding. The piece of fabric that you had cut 2.5 inches by the width of the fabric needs to be pressed in half, so it's folded and pressed in half. And then we are going to go ahead and start by attaching it to the back of our pot holder. You need to leave about a 3 to 4 inch tail to begin with. We're going to start near the bottom, and we are going to sew using a 3/8 seam allowance. So we have our tail left up at the top of our binding. We're going to start near the bottom. You are going to stitch down when you get close to the corners, about a 3/8 inch away from the edge. You're going to stop, put your needle down, and pivot and sew off to the corner. So it's going to look something like this. So you'll stop, needle down, pivot, and go off the edge. Now take your binding, fold it up. That stitch that you made helps keep that shape, and then fold over. So make a right triangle, fold over. This lines up with your edge. This fold is even with this edge. Turn and continue sewing. Do that for every corner. Now, because of the thickness, you may have to have a leader fabric, another fabric to start stitching on before this feeds through. Make sure to leave another tail because we are going to join these pieces. Now we have our binding sewn on to one side. We need to join these two pieces. So go ahead and take your tail, fold it over, get a nice crease there, meet the other tail to it, and where they meet, go ahead and fold it back. And right where those folds are, go ahead and make a snip. This is going to be what you use to join the two together. These are our indicator marks. So now we're going to take that piece and this piece. Mark where your marks are, go ahead and match them. clip. And go ahead and put a clip where it's folded in half, kind of make it easier to work with. And then where your other notches are, go ahead and match those up. And then you're going to stitch along that line. If you need to have a better line to see it by, take your ruler, your marking pen, and draw a sewing line. Now stitch along that line. Now you're going to stitch along that line to join our binding pieces. Now before you cut off that excess, we want to make sure that it works. So go ahead and unclip it. And there you have it. So now that they're joined, you're going to cut off the excess and then continue stitching straight down. Now we have it stitched down, we need to bring it over to the other side. So see our pretty corners when this comes over to the other side. If my corner goes that way on the back side, I like it to do opposite on the front side. So I'm going to fold it to meet there and put a clip in it. Continue around. Now we have our binding pressed over to the front side and clipped. All our corners are nice and mitered. And now we are going to stitch right along the edge, finishing up our project. Make sure when you get up to the top area where our tab is, that your tab does not flip up, that it stays down when you stitch across that binding. All right, go ahead and clip any of your strings and threads hanging off. And now you can go gift this or go hang it on a knob in your kitchen and use it for yourself. Thank you so much for joining us for another Make It Monday. We hope you enjoy your fabulous new quilted pot holder using the panel. But remember, you can use any fun fabric to make this project. Makes a fabulous gift, especially for this holiday season when you need something quick and easy. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and of course here on YouTube, and we will see you next time.